to him before the junior nationals. Brian Smith, head wrestling coach, University of Missouri. Chapter 1. The Trade. If you have the opportunity to play this game of life, you need to appreciate every moment. A lot of people don't appreciate the moment until it passes. Kanye West. First of all, there was always the caveat. When I retired from mixed martial arts, MMA, in late 2017, I actually meant it. I wasn't playing a game. I was 33 years old, undefeated, and reigning champion, but I was fresh out of real challenges at one championship, the Singapore-based MMA promotion that I was fighting with. Before MMA, I was a two-time national champion at the University of Missouri, twice winning the Hodge Trophy as the country's best collegiate wrestler. Under the circumstances, walking away felt like the right thing to do. It was something I could control. What I had not been able to control was realizing a long-held desire to compete against the very best welterweights in the world, most of whom belonged to the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC. For a decade, the UFC had been, for me, an exclusive club with velvet ropes, and my name, in spite of my accomplishments, and for reasons that remain mysterious to this day, was just never on the guest list. So I retired after defeating Shinya Aoki in Singapore, but I added a caveat. I would remain retired unless I got the opportunity to prove I'm the best. That left the door very publicly open for somebody to come along and change my mind. I emphasized this during a popular 2-hour appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast in early 2018. One of the most watched podcasts Rogan did that year, making my position crystal clear. Was I subtweeting the UFC by appending my retirement like that? Of course I was, but it was a justified subtweet. UFC president Dana White had planted the seed years before that I wasn't interested in fighting the best guys in the world, which meant plenty of fans in his echo chamber held this notion to be true. Whenever my name was brought up to him, which was frequently, Dana made it a part of a running narrative that I was ducking real challenges and taking the easy path by fighting no-names in other promotions. That claim couldn't have been further from the truth. Anybody who knew me, going back well before I wrestled at Mizzou or competed with the 2008 United States Olympic team, understood just what kind of competitor I was. I am obsessively competitive. Always have been. You can't be the best unless you beat the best. And honestly, to me, that meant the perceived best having to beat me. I'd been playing out fights with longtime UFC welterweight Georges St-Pierre in my head for years. I contemplated on endless loop just what a great foil I would make for then-champion Johnny Hendricks, a rival whom I actively disliked since wrestling against him in high school. Who doesn't love a heated backstory? Besides, I could do what no other welterweight could do. I could make a Johnny Hendricks fight interesting. I thought about some of the welterweights I had ragdolled in the training sessions back in my early years of MMA. Back when I was just starting out in 2008 and 2009, who were being coronated on a weekly basis by the MMA media. I had it in me to smash up a lot of old notions and ruin all of tomorrow's parties, and I wasn't afraid to talk about it. I knew damn well what I was capable of, but the problem was I knew that they knew too. The other problem was, well, Dana simply didn't like me, and public demand to get me into the UFC only served to make him more stubborn about it. So when I retired from fighting, I made sure to leave his version of the truth in check on the chessboard for everyone to compare notes against. It was an open challenge. Bring me on, or I'll call it a career. In truth, I was fairly content to leave competition of the fight game if it came down to it, and I could do so with my head held high. I'd won titles in every promotion I'd fought in and compiled a perfect 18-0 record in MMA. The only blemish was a bullshit no contest against an opponent who faked an eye injury out in the Philippines. In the year 2017, I was never hit once, not cleanly at least, in 3 fights. My accomplishments spoke for themselves. But it was more than just that. I've always felt like athletes, particularly in combat sports, hang on too long. I didn't want to do that. I love coaching, and I was ready to give 100% of myself to my students at the Askren Wrestling Academy, AWA, the wrestling schools my brother Max and I run in our home state of Wisconsin. By early fall of 2018, I was pretty far removed from any thoughts of ever stepping into the cage again, which was evident in my